Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson seems certain that the squad involved in Friday's deadly Horizon Parks in Catherine operation was well prepared.
It was an intelligence-driven operation. We had information that there were a number of, some gunmen with weapons, high-powered weapons here.
High-powered weapons like this one, seized from the house where 2 cops were fatally wounded and 2 others injured in a hail of bullets during the early morning surprise.
The commander saw every gunfire because I live probably about 5 minutes away from here and I hear the explosion early this morning and it was probably about an hour and a half.
Pierced bulletproof vests, damaged walls and bullet-riddled doors tell the tale of a combat-like operation, and the faces of despondents denoted grief. But there are strong indications that there were major operational weaknesses which resulted in a fatal Friday on the outskirts of the old capital. Here's what we know. Sometime after 5 o'clock on the morning of Friday, June 12, Superintendent Leon Clunes, the head of the St. Catherine North Police Division, led a team of cops to this house on the outskirts of Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The cops, at least 4 of them, would have climbed up these stairs announcing themselves as police.
Somebody was knocking down a door and we were peeping through the window and we saw a police vehicle right there. A little bit after that, it's like, boom, boom, boom. Gunshots started firing and it was like about half an hour. And I was peeping through the window and I saw like somebody was putting somebody in a van, like one of the police officers.
That was the signal that something had gone wrong.
What went wrong is that we have people with high-powered weapons and rifles, criminals with them, in Jamaica, shooting at people. That's what went wrong.
The result, a 33-year-old Detective Corporal, Dane Biggs, and 26-year-old Constable Decardo Hilton killed after being shot multiple times. Superintendent Leon Clunes and another cop received multiple gunshot wounds and were admitted to hospital in serious condition. It's theorized that the shooter or shooters escaped by knocking out these louvers, then jumping through these windows at the back of the house. The culprit or culprits then jumped the perimeter wall. Meanwhile, it's reported that Superintendent Clunes was not wearing protective gear. So was this because of a shortage of bulletproof vests in the Jamaica Constabulary Force?
There is not a chronic shortage of bulletproof vests. We brought in thousands of vests of different types into the country in recent times. Most, if not all, officers have a vest or should have.
Retired Deputy Commissioner of Police Mark Shields would not comment on the specific case, but highlighted the importance of wearing the appropriate police gear on assignments.
The reality is that if the intelligence is specifically about high-powered weapons, then there would be a requirement, in my view, in my opinion, in general terms, for a tactical firearms unit to be called in, because they are, not only are they trained properly in terms of tactical situations around buildings or pieces of land or extricating people from motor vehicles, but in addition to that, they also have proper ballistic shields. They may have dogs as well. They'd certainly have, I would hope, body-worn cameras. And they would have the requisite training in order that they could effect an arrest of somebody that is an armed suspect. So all of that is required. Generally speaking, police officers who patrol the streets of Jamaica and other parts of the world, they will have body armour to protect themselves against 9mm and .4 Magnum rounds, but they will not be engaged in the sort of operation that we're discussing today.
Then there is the issue of ensuring that bulletproof vests are viable, meaning they are able to meet their specifications after being in use for some time. It's a matter we put to the Commissioner of Police at a press conference on Friday.
Are you satisfied with the viability of those which are being used by your members?
Right. What I'm saying is the way you're asking me is they're viable. As a matter of fact, we tested a series of them just recently on the range to see if they still had their ballistic properties, which they do.
The other issue, Commissioner, would be that the bullet, the weapon that was used was firing military-grade.
That's correct.
Bullets that the standard issue vest would probably not be able to stop.
That's correct. So that's it. You said it, sir. that is it.
So if, as the Commissioner puts it, it was an intelligence-driven operation in search of wanted men with high-powered weapons, why wasn't the SWAT team a part of it? And why weren't the cops wearing the appropriate bulletproof vests?
one of them, he got shot below the vest in the pelvic region, and so on. So we will have to go through this in some detail, and when we do, we'll put out something on it. I prefer not to go any further on this.
Retired Deputy Commissioner Mark Shields insists he would not address the specifics of the Horizon horror, but said the review should be critical in identifying all the gaps and failures of the operation.
Any incident that involves the police use of firearms, there will always be a debrief and a review. A debrief is on every single occasion because every situation involving firearms is always a unique situation and it always throws up its own anomalies. But certainly in a case, and I talk generally about any case, where either police officers are fatally killed or injured, or indeed even if a suspect or a member of the public is killed in the process of a fatal shooting, then in any case there will be some form of review, some detailed review to establish what went wrong, what could have been done better, what can we learn for the next time we conduct a particular operation. So in general terms, that would be the process.
And another senior retired officer who asked not to be named said he found it curious that only 11 men formed the squad for an intelligence-driven operation in search of wanted men with high-powered weapons. The cop, with more than 3 decades in service to the police force, said as part of the review, particular attention should be placed on the planning of the operation. Meanwhile, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said the cops were frankly not prepared for this operation.
They didn't expect that kind of reaction. It's not the kind of thing you anticipate, even with the kind of crime background you have in Jamaica. Man or men were armed with high-powered weapons. An M16 at that range can tear through pretty much anything that we have in normal circumstances. We'd have to have the men prepared for high-powered, high-velocity combat situation. And they were in a residential community. They knew they could face problems, but not that level.
Late Friday afternoon, the police killed the prime suspect in a shootout in Corville Gardens, St. Andrew. 2 policemen were also injured in that gun battle, one of whom was grazed on his leg. Damian Mitchell for The Gleaner Online.